Morad Tahbaz is a renowned conservationist, and today he suffers in a prison cell in Iran. His crime? Trying to save an endangered species from extinction. Apparently, the Iranian regime is unable to distinguish saving animals from committing espionage. Today, there are fewer than 50 Asiatic cheetahs left in the world, and they are all in Iran. To promote the conservation of Iran's wildlife and endangered species, like the Asiatic cheetah, Morad Tahbaz co-founded the Persian Wildlife Heritage Foundation in 2008. For years, he traveled to Iran to document Iran's natural beauty and biodiversity. In 2017, Morad published a photography book of various animals native to Iran. He dedicated a portion of the book's proceeds to benefit conservation efforts inside Iran, and he wrote, quote, "Without help, Iran will lose more species and the world will be a poorer place for it." Morad's work was so admired that Iran's national soccer team designed special jerseys with cheetahs emblazoned on them. They wore them to the 2014 World Cup. In January of 2018, Morad worked in Iran on conservation. His work had been endorsed by the United Nations Development Program. Iran's Department of the Environment had given Morad permission and the necessary permits. Then Morad and 8 members of his foundation were suddenly arrested by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps on charges of espionage. These charges have been condemned by human rights and environmental groups, the United Nations, the European Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Human rights experts for the UN called for the charges to be dropped, arguing, quote, "It is hard to fathom how working to preserve Iranian flora and fauna can possibly be linked to conducting espionage," end quote. 3 Iranian ministries concluded there was no evidence to support naming Morad as a spy. An Iranian member of parliament even said that the Supreme National Security Council had recognized there was no espionage. However, a corrupt court system controlled by the IRGC sentenced Morad and 7 others to up to 10 years in prison. The co-founder of Morad's foundation was Kavuz Syed Imami. Just days after his arrest, he was found dead in his prison cell. His jailers claimed it was suicide, but Kavuz's family knows that's not true. The regime denied the family's request for an autopsy. The United States calls on environmental groups and conservationists around the world to join the hundreds of conservationist researchers and professors from 73 nations who have already told the Iranian regime to release Morad Tahbaz. Dr. Jane Goodall and Leonardo DiCaprio have publicly come to Morad's defense and called for his release. All governments who have diplomatic relations with Iran should convey their opposition to his cruel prison sentence. We appreciate the United Kingdom's efforts to fight for his freedom, since Morad is also a British citizen. All who care about basic human rights, the environment, and the preservation of endangered species should join our call on the Iranian government to free Morad Tahbaz. Morad recently battled cancer, and he still suffers from serious medical problems. He cannot get the medical supervision he needs while in a prison cell. He is at great risk to contract the coronavirus while in prison. We cannot allow Morad to spend 10 years in jail. Since Iran's supreme leader and foreign minister are so active on Twitter, perhaps they can tell us why Morad should spend another day in prison. They should instead listen to the international community and civic society and release an innocent man.